Hello. The role of diet, exercise, and calorie deficit, session number 2. Hello, I'm Dr. Martin Shulvers, Medical Director of the Triad Weight Loss Clinic in Sarnia, Ontario, Canada. Thank you for your interest in learning how to lose up to 30% of your current weight by following my methodology. This is a 6-part series showing you the steps that the Triad team and I take with patients to help them obtain their weight loss goals. This is the second part of the 6-part series. Diets don't work. That is, they don't work in the long run. Sure, you can follow a diet for a few weeks or even a few months and you can lose weight, but you can't keep it off. I have mentioned that obesity is a chronic disease, and being a chronic disease, it requires a chronic treatment for the rest of your life. Most, if not all, diets are restrictive. Diets advise denial, restriction, deprivation, and white-knuckle determination. Nobody can keep that up forever. Typically, diets have varying degrees of short-term success, but folks can't maintain their diet long-term, so this approach fails. Please don't consider yourself a failure because this approach didn't work for you. It doesn't work for anyone. You're not a failure. Remember, your neurohormonal biology is driving your weight regain and defending against weight loss. Losing weight is not natural. So, you might ask, what should you eat? Well, in order to lose weight, you should take in the least amount of calories that you can still enjoy. So, I'm saying that enjoying food and using it to socialize are part of who we are as humans, and denying yourself is unnatural and unsustainable. Think of your lifestyle as taking in the least amount of calories but still enjoying life. If it feels like deprivation, then you're not enjoying it and you will not be able to keep it up. This might look like one piece of chocolate cake instead of 2, or it might look like fruit salad instead of chocolate cake. But at the end of the day, you should not feel deprived. As a doctor, I really want to advocate healthy eating behaviors that tend to A, promote reduced cardiovascular risk, B, reduce cancer risk, and 3, promote an eating lifestyle that is associated with longevity. So in general, I promote the Mediterranean diet, which is associated with better health outcomes. The Mediterranean diet isn't actually so much a diet as it is a lifestyle of healthy eating. It's a lifestyle that encourages the consumption of all food groups, but it promotes those that give the most health benefit. The Mediterranean diet emphasizes plant-based foods, namely fruits, vegetables, grains, nuts, and seeds. Seafood is consumed at least twice a week. Cheese and yogurt is consumed at least twice weekly, along with moderate proportions of chicken, turkey, and eggs on occasion. The consumption of other meats and of sweets are only used occasionally, like once or twice a month. Cooking with herbs and extra virgin olive oil is also promoted. Replace refined grains with whole grains. Choose brown over white, so use whole wheat pasta and whole grain bread and brown rice instead of white rice. Because you are cutting back on meat, you do need another source of high quality protein. So replace meat with a diet high in beans and lentils, as these are a good source of high quality protein from the vegetable kingdom. Beans and lentils are also a good source of fiber antioxidants, and vitamins. Now, what I love most about the Mediterranean lifestyle is its focus on social connection through food as opposed to eating alone. It's all about activity, walking with family and friends, dancing, celebrating, and sharing home-cooked food. So when opportunity permits, please eat with family and friends as much as you can and enjoy having a good time while you're eating. Although I love this Mediterranean diet from a weight loss perspective, I'm really a diet agnostic, not recommending any particular diet over the other, but advocate using a diet or eating lifestyle that one can stick with for the long term. If you think you can stick to the Mediterranean diet long term, this is the one that I would suggest as being amongst the healthiest. To be clear, I am not a trained dietitian or nutritionist, so I don't involve myself much in dietary counseling with my patients, as there are others who are more knowledgeable and trained to counsel in nutrition. I do often refer patients to Lisa Chilvers, who's a registered holistic nutritionist who does a wonderful job of working with my patients to perfect a healthy eating lifestyle. Lisa, by the way, happens to be my daughter. Please check out her website at lisachilvers.ca. Chilvers is Chilvers. And consider following her healthy eating lifestyle that she refers to as the loving kindness method. It works for her patients. I have had heartwarming feedback from so many of them on what a wonderful job she does and how much she's helped them. You might think that a plant-predominant diet is boring and not very tasty, but I can verify personally that this is not correct. Lisa knows how to make this type of healthy eating wonderfully tasty and sustainable in the long term. Let's move on to the topic of exercise, what I prefer to call activity. Exercise doesn't have to be a formal exercise in the gym or on the track. It can simply be an increase in activity that gets your heart pumping and your lungs breathing harder. If you're like me, when you think of exercise, you think of running. And when you think of running, you think of the last time that you ran. Maybe it was a painful and maybe somewhat boring experience. You got out of breath easily and you had to stop frequently. No one likes a painful, difficult experience, and we all have a normal, natural tendency to avoid pain and unpleasantness. But fortunately, for most of us, walking is not painful and walking is natural. I do not mean to discourage running if that is your passion, but if you go down that path, I suggest starting slow, gradually increasing your pace and distance as you get fitter from the training effect. It's easier that way, and hence you're more likely to persevere. I'd now like to list the merits of walking. Number 1, it assists with weight loss. Number 2, it improves cardiovascular fitness. Number 3, it reduces the risk of heart attack and stroke. Number 4, it improves mental health. It reduces the risk of depression, and it helps reduce anxiety and feeling stressed. 5, it reduces the risk of developing diabetes and certain cancers like colon, breast, and uterine cancer. 6, it reduces the risk of developing osteoporosis and associated fracture risk. 7, it may help cognitive function and reduce the risk of developing dementia. 8, it boosts your immune system. Hey, that could be useful in these times. 9, it extends your life. And 10, apart from being a solitary exercise, it can also be enjoyed with friends and family. I'm going to focus on number 1, assists with weight loss. I advocate walking as an adjunct to weight loss for the reasons above, and because it's something that most of us are actually able to do. Running a marathon or training for a pentathlon is not something us mere mortals are able to do. For those of you who are limited by severe arthritis in your knees or your hips, cycling or swimming might be substituted. Unfortunately, it takes a fair amount of walking to make any significant impact on your weight. This is why I advocate a daily brisk walk of an hour a day, every day. Even walking can be challenging for a variety of reasons. Lack of fitness, poor muscle strength, lack of time, lack of energy, lack of motivation, boredom, cold or rainy weather, etc., etc. There's always a reason not to walk. So start off walking 30 minutes per day, every day, and after a few weeks, gradually step it up slowly to an hour a day, every day. This can become a part of your new healthy lifestyle. I recommend walking with a partner, if possible, like a spouse, neighbor, or friend, or dog, as chatting as you walk, talking to your dog, makes the experience more enjoyable. If you do not have a partner, then listening to music or listening to the radio can be enjoyable and help boost energy and reduce boredom. Now, the weather in Canada is a definite challenge. If it's sub-zero with a vicious cold wind, then you have to dress appropriately. Thermal underwear, thermal gloves, thermal socks and boots, and a balaclava with ski goggles will ensure that no skin is exposed and help keep you toasty warm. The walking prescription is challenging, so start off slower and shorter and then gradually increase to the target of a brisk daily walk of an hour. One could certainly break it up into 2 30-minute walks if one preferred, but don't sabotage your hard work by rewarding yourself with, say, a bag of potato chips. It's like 300 calories. Easy come, but not so easy to go. Don't let an hour of hard work evaporate in a minute of indulgence. Now, a few words of caution. Number 1, if you develop chest distress, pain, tightness while you are active, you need to stop the activity and seek medical attention before resuming that activity. 2, if we are still social distancing, your walking partner cannot be someone who doesn't live with you. Now, when you lose weight, you are not necessarily just losing fat. You are at risk of losing muscle as well, which is undesirable for a number of reasons. This includes the loss of muscle, which ends up lowering your resting metabolic rate. And this in turn makes it more difficult for you to keep the weight off. Now, walking does help to reduce loss of muscle in the biggest muscle groups in your body, that is, in your legs and buttocks. So this actually is an accidental or additional benefit of walking. Adding weight training to your activity will greatly reduce the loss of muscle associated with weight loss. And it'll also help you to tone up your muscles. Apparently, it doesn't take a lot of weight training to accomplish this. Simply exercise your major muscle groups twice a week using heavy weights where your muscles fatigue after 12 repetitions. So those light girly weights that you have, ladies, aren't going to cut it. Now, to be clear, activity in the form of exercise in general is not an easy or efficient way to lose weight. But following the active lifestyle may contribute to about 10% of your weight loss. So increasing your activity helps you derive all of the health benefits and contributes to your weight loss. In short, try to burn as many calories as you can while still enjoying a healthy lifestyle. If you find it's a chore though, you won't do it for long. This is human nature. This is normal. Try to find an activity that you enjoy and can keep up for the long term. Also, remember, physical activity alone results in very modest weight loss benefit, and so it must be paired with dietary intervention to achieve optimal weight reduction. You cannot walk off an unhealthy diet. Studies have also shown us that patients who are successful in keeping the weight off also keep up an active lifestyle long term. I would now like to review with you the concept of caloric deficit. To lose weight, you have to have a caloric deficit. That is, you have to burn more calories than you consume. To give you an idea, there are about 3,500 calories in 1 pound of fat. So if you develop a caloric deficit of 500 calories per day, this would add up to 3,500 calories per week, which would enable you to lose 1 pound of fat per week. One way of ensuring that you will have a caloric deficit is to consume no more calories than your resting basal metabolic rate. You can calculate your basal metabolic rate by using an online calculator. Now, because your basal metabolic rate goes down as you lose weight, I would suggest recalculating it with every, say, 20 pounds of weight loss. I'm also an advocate of tracking calories and to maintain tracking for a year or so. There are many popular apps that you can download from the internet onto your smartphone that make it very easy to track your caloric intake. For instance, MyFitnessPal is probably the most popular tracking app, although I personally use one called Yazio to track my intake. We know from clinical studies that patients who track their caloric intake and track their activity tend to be more successful overall. So there is good reason to be bothered to track calories and activity. After a year of tracking closely, it may not be necessary to continue, as the habits you've developed have hopefully become ingrained. It is educational and illuminating to track your calories, and you'll be surprised when you learn that there aren't as many calories in foods you thought were high in calories, and vice versa. You can also make it fun by becoming a calorie detective, discovering where all the calories are coming from and seeing which are easier to eliminate. Knowing the calorie content can help you make informed choices guided by your values. Knowledge is power. I wish you all the best on your weight loss journey. I'll see you next week for session number 3, entitled A Model for Understanding Weight Control. Now, if you enjoyed this series of talks of modern medical weight management and find them useful or educational, then please share them with your family, friends, and neighbors who you think may be interested in viewing them. Also, if you enjoyed the video and found it worthwhile, please click on the thumbs up icon and subscribe to my YouTube channel by pressing the subscribe button below. And lastly, if you wish to read my book on this subject, you will find it on Amazon. Thank you, and goodbye for today.